Hi, that's a great question. Hard to answer because I've been doing this for so long, but I did think of three ideas or examples that really kind of demonstrate how I go about incorporating nature and outdoor learning into my lessons in ways that kids like. And so the first one, I was teaching at a very small private school. And there, I had a couple of students. These are middle school age group kids, third to sixth grade. And I had a couple of kids who were very active. We've all had them, I'm sure. And so I was looking for ways to engage them in the learning process. And so what I did was have them create and design their own Ninja Warrior course. There was a location at the school where we could build it. And so, needless to say, they were extremely interested in that, and they learned, geometry, engineering, design, scaling, all of those things. And then I happened to have a parent who did construction work, and he was able to come and help the kids actually create the Ninja Warrior course. And so it was a great project. The kids were very engaged in it. And then they had a final project that they could actually use during any break times that it was available to whoever wanted to use it. And something they could be proud of and still standing as far as I know. So that's one way that I utilize nature. It didn't necessarily have to do with nature, but it certainly, brought the kids outside. And so then another one I had was at a public school, high school level, and I was teaching biology to some students, and there was a green underutilized space right on the other side of our classroom that I got permission to use, and I applied for a grant and got it, and my students had to research the soil. Soil. They did a lot of ecology, so they did soil, natural plants, what goes with what, all of this that has to do with ecology in our local system. And then they created, designed, and built this green space that had flowers, native flowers. It had berries. It was also, so the students decided upon what they wanted to create, and they wanted a space where they could relax, and it was help pollinators, but also where they could come because a lot of the kids were underserved. And so some of the kids, quite a few of them actually, came to school hungry. And so it also had food sources, lots of berries, and then one kid really wanted his corn, so we had corn and grapes and all of these things, so the kids could just come and eat there. And so they, were able to build it, and it's still being used today as well. And then the third one was and in the first school, the same as the first school, so it was at the small private school, and we were learning about, it was an interdisciplinary unit, and we looked at, quite a few things. We went and visited local river sources, local streams, and talked about how and why people build towns around river sources. We did a lot of historical research. We, did field trips in the local town, talked to local people. And then after all, and we went to they looked at the ecology of the river systems. And then the students had to create and design together as a collaborative piece a town, in a fictional town that grew up along our local river source, which was very close. And it wasn't like a big river like the Ohio River or something. It was more like a stream, actually. And so we would go and visit that place, and they had to design a town around it. And then they created a 3D model that was like 4x4 on a piece of plywood, and they built that up. They had to create characters that lived in the village. They had a whole story around the village. Then they had to create mystery stories around the town and what happened at the town. And the kids, some of them actually ended up working together. That piece was actually something they could do on their own, but some of them, a group of them, got together and they actually created a series, which requires, as you know, forward thinking and just so much more. And the kids actually took off with that. They just loved it, and I ended up spending way more time on that than I had anticipated. But I didn't want to stop them because they were just having so much fun. So that's just another way that I incorporated nature-based learning. So we are outside a lot at the river's edge and the ponds and looking at, all of that. And I just outside doing local field trips. And so those are just a couple of examples of ways that I've incorporated nature or outdoor learning into curriculum that the kids really enjoy. I hope that answers your question, and let me know.